This is part 7 of Behold, the Ingathering of the Firstfruits by the Honorable Yudhe Beit Nun Sophie Yudhe Yahweh Ben Yahweh.
Welcome to International Headquarters for the Nation of Yahweh, Nation of Israel, the tribe of Judah, the children of Jacob. Welcome to Feast of Tabernacles. There's no peace in the Middle East or on the planet Earth until we are restored as the nation of Yahweh. Welcome to Feast of Tabernacles. Let us turn to Psalms 25. Psalms chapter 25, verse 14. Psalms chapter 25, verse 14. Let us read.
The secret of the Lord Yahweh is with them that fear him, and he will show them his covenant.
Praise Yahweh. Psalms chapter 29, verse 2. Read.
Give unto the Lord Yahweh the glory due unto his name. Worship the Lord Yahweh in the beauty of holiness.
Praise Yahweh. Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 34. Read.
Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord Yahweh. Here
is a commandment given to us to keep the Feast of Tabernacles in the 7th month. Our enemies change the time so that we cannot keep the Feast of Tabernacles without Yahweh coming to teach us the time. Where? All right. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. Read.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
So here are our enemies, the wicked ones, Satan, the opposer of God, speaking great words against God, who is most high. And the whole strategy of Satan is to wear out the saints of God, the Most High. Wear them out and change the time, the calendar. Why would he want to change the calendar? And the time is clear here in Leviticus 23, verse 34, is so that you would not know when the 7th month is. The 7th month begins with the first month that Yahweh gave, which is the month of Abib. Deuteronomy 16 and what? 1. If you don't know that Satan, the devil, the opposer of God, changed the laws and the calendar of Yahweh, then you don't know what time it is, that makes it impossible for you to keep his commandment. Let's be logical about this thing. Deuteronomy 16:1. Read.
Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God Yahweh. For in the month of Abib, the Lord thy God Yahweh brought thee forth out of Egypt by night.
Now here we have the law of Passover, another commandment, saying keep the month of Abib. So the children of Israel, who have forgotten who they are, and all so-called black people of America are the children of Israel. You are Israel. You're the one that Yahweh is talking to here. And he tells you keep Passover in the month of Abib, and you never heard of Abib. You heard of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, but you never heard about Abib. How can you keep Passover when the month of Abib no longer exists in your mind? God said keep it in the month of Abib. So what's the profound question? When is the month of Abib? Because if I don't know when the month of Abib is, I can't do what he told me to do, when he ordered me to do it. Now you can understand why Satan, who hates God, changed the law and the time of God, so that the children of God can't keep his word, can't keep his commandment, can't keep his law, can't keep his requirement, can't keep his statutes, can't keep his judgments. Because your enemy knows when you don't keep the law of your Father Yahweh, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be suffering. Your house will be in disarray. Your family will be destroyed. Your neighborhood and communities will be racked with destruction and evil. You will be full of plagues. You'll lose your children. You'll have no control over them. They'll grow up and tell you they'll do what they want to do. All because Satan, our enemy, changed the time and the season. He has us believing January is the first month of the year. Now, it may be the first month of his year, but it's not the first month of the year for God. Who you going to go with? You going to go with the Creator, his month, or you going to go with his enemy's month? The enemy of Yahweh, God's month, is January. That's his month. The devil's month is January. And then he has you celebrating the first day of January as Happy New Year. Oh, we have to think about these things. We have to be logical about this thing. Here you are saying, Happy New Year, and you don't know what time it is. Why do you say Happy New Year in the first place? Why do you say that? Why do you do it? It's really because you don't know any better. Somebody taught you that. The same people that put you in slavery taught you Happy New Year. And the same people that put you in slavery didn't teach you the month of Abib. Because Yahweh said, keep this law forever. So you don't tell me nothing about nobody change, had authority to change it. He said, keep this forever. Even the man 1900 years ago kept Passover. You certainly are not excused from keeping it. You can't claim the man 1900 years ago got rid of it. No, he kept it. We're going to see tonight he kept it. So since he kept it, how are you going to turn around and say, because you're a Christian, you don't keep it? The man you claim to follow kept it. If you follow him, you got to keep it. Let's be logical about this thing. Praise God. He kept it up until his last dinner. His last supper was spit. The last supper was Passover. He didn't call it Last Supper. The book said Passover. So how are you not going to keep it when he kept it? Come on now. Let's be reasonable about this thing. And he kept it in its due season and at the right time. And now here you come hollering Happy New Year, and he wouldn't know what you're talking about. Woo, it's hot in here. Had nothing to do with air conditioning. Acts what? Matthew 26, 17. Let's take a peek at that. I got to keep a lot of fingers busy here. I want to take a peek at it. Matthew 26, 17. Well, I want to see you escape this one. Oh yeah, you can't tell me you love the man 1900 years ago and don't follow him. You say you follow him. Follow the footsteps of Christ. Well, read.
Now the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the disciples came to Yahweh ben Yahweh, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?
Oh, he ate it. Passover. In Deuteronomy 16:1 says it's in the month of Abib, and it said he kept it on the first day. They came to him on the first day. That means they knew when the first day was. Didn't say they came to him in January 1 or something. They said first day. They know when the first day was. Do you know? See, without me, do you know? Where you talk, you hollered Happy New Year, and that's not the first day. You can't follow the man 1900 years ago. That's a short time ago. Not to think about following what Moses laid down. You can't even follow the man you claim you know and don't know nothing about it. You don't know nothing. You didn't know he kept Passover. If you did know it, you'd be keeping it. Ooh, it's hot in here. It keeps getting hot in here. Now, here in Leviticus 23, 34, I'm required to speak unto the children of Israel. Why? Because the children of Israel have forgotten. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to speak to you. Speak to the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month. Why do I have to tell the children of Israel the date and the month? Obviously, it's been changed and Israel doesn't know anymore. And that makes you a breaker of the law. That makes you a transgressor of the law. That means you're in trouble. See, let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and see what happens when you break the law. Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. Read.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God Yahweh, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
You'll be cursed in the city, cursed on your farm, your grocery basket will be cursed, your store will be cursed if you own one, the fruit of your body, your children will be cursed, your land will be cursed, your cattle will be cursed, your sheep will be cursed, any kind of flock you have, you used to have flock, won't have any. You'll be cursed coming into the world, and they'll curse you going out. People will curse you in your casket. And then there's about 30 or 40 more verses of curses that you're under because you're not keeping this. Back to Leviticus 23:34. So now the question is, when is the seventh month? Since your God told you to keep it, you have to learn when is it in order to keep it. You can't keep it when you want to. You have to keep it when he said keep it. That's the way you obey God, is do what he tells you when he tells you to do it. And that's the way it works. But the enemy, your enemy, changed the calendar. Yahweh gave you solar time. Your enemy put you on the moon. That's right, they call it moon time, lunar time. Now those are two entirely different times. Two entirely different symbols, two entirely different substances, two entirely different reactions, actions, and character, composition, makeup, influence are different. So you can't say, well, what difference does it make whether it's a Bibb or January? The difference is you obey your God or you disobey him. And it's no excuse because you don't know. See, when you don't know, you're cursed. Everything you do is a curse. Yeah, that's right. Luke what? 12. Luke 12. Yeah, it's really true. No excuse for not knowing. Luke chapter 12, verse 47 and 48. Read.
And that servant which knew his Lord's will, and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. But he that knew not, and did commit things worthy of stripes, shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more.
Knowing the law, not keeping it, you get a severe beating. Not knowing the law, and thereby not keeping the law, you get a good beating. Common denominator is you get a beating. If you knew the month of Abib, if you know the month of Abib and do not keep the law, you'll be beaten severely. Long time. But the fact that you are now born in America, up from slaves, and weren't allowed to read for 300 years, and they were able to change everything in the books, so that now that you're born on the earth, you don't know what time it is or how to find out what time it is. Therefore, you can't keep the law of your father. So he's going to beat your behind really good. And that's what's happening to black people in America right now. And I don't have to draw the long picture of how much suffering our people are going through in America. You are really aware of how dangerous and how dirty and filthy it is where we live. And it's all because we don't know what time it is. And the only way you can know what time it is through Yahweh. And not knowing Yahweh does not excuse you. How do you act now that you found out about Yahweh? What are you doing about it? Now that you're hearing about Yahweh, what are you doing about it? Are you studying to find out? Do you go get your encyclopedia and your dictionaries and look up this name and find out? Do you research and find out whether or not this name belongs to you? Have you ever sought to find out if you're Israel, the children of God? You say you're a child of God. How many heard our parents and grandparents say that they're a child of God? You heard it? Well, don't you know what a child of God is? A child of God is a child of Israel. Only Israel are the children of God. So what was your grandmother trying to tell you? That you're Hebrew Israelites, the children of Israel, the children of God. Gentiles and other nations are not the children of God. It said they can only be saved through Israel. They can only be spiritual children. They're not the real children. They can only become children through adoption. You should have learned that in the New Testament. The New Testament is all about Gentiles trying to be saved. What? If you didn't learn that in church, you really, I don't know what you went in there for. I guess it was to hear the choir. Maybe it was to hear the preacher. You like that. Maybe that was it. Maybe you went because your mama took you and your grandma took you. Maybe you went to church because after they quit taking you, they made you go. Maybe that's why you went. And you couldn't wait to take a part of the money they gave you for offering. You were glad when they quit taking you, because you had to put the money in the plate when they took you. Now you know what you did with that offering when they quit taking it. You stopped at the local store. How many did it? Look around. Yes, we did it. The preacher won't get this, Jack. Whatever the Lord get today, the preacher gonna give it to him, because I sure am not. I'm going to the store. Walk up there and put a penny in the plate and kept 9 cents for yourself. Make sure you got change before you went in church. How many got change? Yeah. Mama gave you a quarter, you got change. Put a penny in and kept 24. Yes, you did. Put your hand deep in the pot like you really gave something. Well, I'm proving my case real well tonight. See, month of Abib begins in the month of March. Near the end of March at that. On a very specific day. You don't know how to go about finding that out. What I just said, you don't know how to go and find it out. Yet you are required to know or get beaten up. Who's going to beat you? Yahweh. God himself is going to beat you, and he'll use other nations to whip on you. Yeah. It's a punishment because you won't keep the law. Puts you under a curse. Do we have to be under the curse? Do my people have to stay under it? No, I'm here teaching you how not to suffer from the curse. White people kill you all the day long and hold themselves not guilty. Just that simple. You don't know how to hold yourself not guilty. Huh? Right or wrong? You don't know how to hold yourself not guilty. He kills all over America. He takes himself to court if you can get him in there. In the first place, that's if you can get him there. And if you can succeed in getting him in there, they just hold themselves not guilty. I mean, everybody, they see him shoot him down on TV. Man handcuffed. Bam! They say justifiable homicide. What does that mean? He's justified in killing you. Why is he justified in killing you? Because he knows you're a lawbreaker. You don't just break his law, you break your father's law first. You know you're going to break his. So he got you up front. Every time you break a law, he knows it's just time, just a matter of time, he's going to get you. He already knows it. You got to fall when you go for him in his way. Yahweh told us, learn not the ways of the heathen. Turn to Jeremiah 10:2. That's what Yahweh said. Learn not the ways of the heathen. You've never known who a heathen is. If you don't know these things, you'll suffer. If you know it and don't do it, you suffer worse. Read.
Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
Every time a strange light take off in heaven, they be dismayed. And all the customs of the people, look at verse 3, read.
For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe.
Verse 4, read.
They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
What is that? That's a Christmas tree. The Bible says that's all in vain. And Christmas does you no good. Your mama spent all her money on the lie, the Christmas lie. It's nothing but a lie. My God, I shouldn't have to spend 1 minute telling you Christmas is a lie. And now they're saying, well, they're taking Christ after Christmas. Christ never was in it. This Bible said it was all vain. It's a custom of man. It's the way of the heathen. And they tell you Christmas is December 25th. And they lie and say that's the birth of Christ, and that's a lie too, isn't it? Because it said it's a custom of man, and it's all vain. So it's not the right time of the birth of the Savior. And then it's just one great big old fat lie. That's a big old fat lie. You can't think Santa Claus without thinking fat lie. Who do you call the fat lie? See, you know, Santa Claus. Here you are, a little small kid in your innocence. Here comes the red-nosed reindeer with his pretty little red nose. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. Come on, Vixen. Come on, Vixen. You knew the name too, didn't you? Huh? See, some of y'all know the name right now. And actually believe they flying in the sky. You went for it. Here they teach you a lie. Teach you to love a lie with gifts. Bribe your dumb self with a gift to accept a lie. You say, I don't care what you say, bring me the presents. Why? Because you love materialism and they taught you to love a lie. In your face, you know a reindeer wasn't prancing up nowhere. It's talking to had you tying up a sock around the table because you didn't have a chimney. They say this big fat man is coming down a chimney. Now you know you get stuck. You haven't seen a chimney yet that some big fat boy could come running down through it. Now you know good and well there wasn't enough presents on a little old sled. To go for everybody in your town. Some of you had a family too big for the sled. That's right. Some of them had more kids in the house than Santa Claus could possibly have on a sled. Some of us come from big families. Be 25 or 30 people in the house. And not only did most of us not have a chimney in the ghetto, that meant Santa Claus couldn't land on the roof of the house. Be logical now. It's not an emotional trip. Let's deal with the reality. We're talking about ending the curse you're under. Now, you don't have to keep suffering. That's right. All you have to do is turn to Yahweh. Leviticus 23:34. I'm speaking to you, children of Israel. The 15th day of the 7th month is Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days. And September is the 7th month. The last part of September is the 7th month. And it's 30 days in every single month of Yahweh's calendar. Every single month has 30 days. 12 months with 30 days each. The enemy has 28 sometimes, 29, 30, and 31. And then he leaps a year. He's so messed up, he just leap on past time and call it leap year. But then because we are a people who are blind to the time, we don't think that's important. You just wake up one day and they told you this was the calendar and that this was January and Happy New Year, and you say, okay. And there you go. You go out to a nightclub looking for a thistle, mistletoe, or something to get up under and kiss anything near you. It's the way of the heathen. What was the purpose of the mistletoe? Stand under it. And see, everybody couldn't stand under the mistletoe. So you just kissed wherever you were. Happy New Year. Was it always the one you came with? Was that really the fun part, not knowing exactly who it was? The closer you got to midnight, the more you had to go to the powder room. You were with John, but there was Jerry. What does that teach for Happy New Year? Teaches promiscuousness. Public sex. Something that should be reserved for the bedroom was in the public. Taught loose morals. What a terrible way to grow up in lies. Merry Christmas. And you're upset because your husband is with Mary. And I don't feel very merry right now. Just a whole stack of lies. Halloween, goblins, Druids, poison apples and poison candy, false face, mask, hide your true identity. Ghosts, come out the dark in disguise. All kind of wicked stuff go through your head when you think don't nobody know who you are. Say things you wouldn't say ordinarily behind that disguise. Yeah, you put it on hoping nobody would know who you were so you could get away with stuff. What? Oh, it went through your head. You may not have done it, but it went through, how many went through your head? Boy, I'm in a disguise now. Won't nobody know who I am and what I'm fixing to do. Halloween. What a way to live. Numbers 24. Well, I hope you want to study about time now. How many understand it's important to know about time? The right time. Leviticus 24. Numbers 24. All right, you remember. Verse 5. Read.
How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Israel.
Here it is telling us that tabernacles is a good time. How goodly are your tabernacles, O Israel. Now this requires you first to know you're Israel. The knowledge of us being Israel was cut off from us. Psalms 83, 1 through 5. Psalms chapter 83. The knowledge that we are Israel was cut off from us. That prevented us from keeping tabernacles, which also prevented us from knowing a true goodly time. See, tabernacles is a season where you can have a goodly time without using drugs or drinking alcohol or doing anything wicked. It's just a high, pure, a goodly time. Read.
Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
Those who are against you cut you off from the memory that you are Israel. You are the nation of Israel, and the only people on the planet cut off from this knowledge is the so-called black man of America. Therefore, you have forgotten Feast of Tabernacles. And that means you've forgotten how to have a good time. So you go looking for parties for a good time. And everybody at the party is looking for a good time. And as a result, nobody at the party is having a good time. How many ever went to a party looking for a good time? How many were disappointed? Everybody was disappointed. How many of you ever went to a party and saw people pretending to have a good time? Anybody know what I'm talking about? You saw all this? And call that fun? Well, we just found out what a goodly time is. It's when you keep the laws of Yahweh and you keep the Feast of Tabernacles. It says that's a goodly time. Now, we that have returned to keeping the laws of Yahweh, and you that have been blessed to stay here this week, what kind of time have you had? Praise Yahweh. Yes, you don't know what a goodly time is until you start keeping the laws of Yahweh. Deuteronomy 16. Deuteronomy 16. Verse 13. Read.
Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days. After that thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine.
And 14, read.
And thou shalt rejoice in thy feast.
See? This is a rejoicing time.